Okay, folks, I have to say that I am very, did I mention very excited that you have decided to stop by here at my orchid paradise with me today. Because I have a very unusual, very strange, very unique, and wild orchid haul for you today. And with that being said, folks, I do want to give a shout out to an orchid buddy of mine by the name of T.D. Moores, who recently got an incredible orchid haul from the Ritter's. So definitely I am very excited for you and all of your finds. And of course, I'm going to show the pictures right here, the ones that you have shown me, because I am extremely happy that you did make the purchases that you got, because they are incredible orchids. And of course, I got me some of those too, so we are forever bonded, T.D. Moores. Okay, folks, and as you guys know, I am a big fan and a total addict of the Tom Ritter's Orchid Nursery. And again, I am like totally addicted, so it's like I cannot stay away. And I'm glad I can't, because guess what I found this time in this orchid haul? Oh my gosh, these very unusual, very strange, very unique orchids right here, and they are all species orchids, which is very strange for me as well, folks, because I in the past have not been so crazy about orchids that are species orchids. But folks, because they are so unique and so unusual, you know what, they had such a lure that I could not resist. They're very interesting ways, very alien-like ways, just really captured my heart. So here I am before you today with these orchids, and let me go ahead and show you each one up close and very personal. Okay, folks, and to get this party started off right, I'm going to actually talk about my most favorite one of all. And usually I save that for last, but folks, I am very excited about this orchid right here. And we're going to take a closer look and find out exactly what it is. This is the Philodendra imbricata. Now, if you guys know exactly what this orchid is, you guys know that this is also called the necklace orchid and also called the Rattlesnake Orchid. Now, you may be wondering why in the world would they be calling this a rattlesnake orchid? Well, they definitely have a good reason, and I'm going to show you right now. Okay, folks, and one of the craziest things about this particular orchid right here is the fact that it has such a stringy-like spike, as you can see here. And a very unusual characteristic about this orchid right here is the way that it creates its spike, or its inflorescence, where it is thread-like and it simply just dangles down. And at the very end of the actual spike itself, you will find a bract which will contain all of the tiny, very unusual looking blossoms. Now, as I stated before, this is also called the rattlesnake orchid. And can you guess why they would call this the rattlesnake orchid? What does this remind you of? Of course, the rattlesnake tail. And taking a closer look at these blossoms, you definitely can see why I find them so amusing and very interesting. Now, many of you guys will sit here and say that no, that orchid does not have an attractive blossom. But one thing for sure, folks, one thing you cannot deny, that this is one of the most interesting and unique orchids that you have ever seen. Indeed, this is the Philodendra imbricata. And just to give you a little bit more information on the Philodendra imbricata, this is actually found in Southern Asia, also found native to the Philippines, which of course you guys know I come from the beautiful island of the Philippines, so I am a very proud owner of this orchid right here. Now, this is also a subtribe of the Collagenea orchid, and you definitely can see the resemblance in the bulbs. Also, if you take a look at the foliage right here, it's very interesting. It reminds me of the Stanhopeia, also a little bit of the Catasetum. But folks, if you actually feel this foliage right here, this leaf, it is actually very stiff. And the actual shape of the leaf itself is the way it's formed. It's not bending backwards, it's just the way that it is shaped, and you cannot maneuver it to change that shape. Again, it is just very firm, very crisp right here. So definitely a very interesting orchid. And again, I just love the way that this spikes out. I love the way that the blossoms are on this rattlesnake-like bract. And also, again, the very interesting formation of the blossoms are just amazing. This makes this one of the most unique orchids I have ever seen. Love it! Okay, folks, and the next orchid that we have on our list is, let's get a closer look. It is a Sigmatostilix Radicand. Okay, folks, one of the interesting things about this orchid right here, if you look, it has a very grassy-like quality. And if you're looking at the canes itself, this is very interesting to me because it actually reminds me a lot of the Maxillaria, where you will actually see the pseudobulbs itself actually growing higher than the older pseudobulbs. So that's very interesting. And again, the grassy-like leaves also mimic the Maxillaria orchid as well. Now, folks, what I love most about this is the teeny weeny orchid blossoms that you see right here. And folks, I am telling you that they are so small. Here's my pinky. And look how small they are. Yeah, this is like 1 centimeter long. So tiny, so precious, so petite, so dainty. Oh my gosh, these are so adorable. I just want to pinch their little cheeks. Come over here, let me pinch your cheeks. Oh, anyways, but they are so adorable, wouldn't you say? Yeah, you know they're such cutie pies. And taking a very close look at this teeny weeny blossom right here, you will notice that T-shaped labellum right there, also that white lip. You will also note that yellow in the center, and right above it, that burgundy maroonish color, and the petals and the sepal is actually a green color. So definitely a very nice wild color combination right here. So precious. And you know what, actually these blossoms just for some reason remind me of little tiny little fairies. So indeed I call this my little fairy girls. All of these little sprites flying in the air. Oh, lovely fairies, oh, make all your dreams come true. And let me not forget, one of my most favorite attributes about these blossoms is although they are quite minute and tiny, oh my gosh, almost microscopic right here at 1 centimeter only, they are actually very fragrant. And that is so amusing that something so small can emit such a beautiful heavenly fragrance, much like honey, very sweet, just like their blossoms. Aww. Okay, folks, and this one here is another very interesting orchid. This is actually a Dendrobium, and looking at the leaves, you would never guess that this would be a Dendrobium. If you take a close look at the foliage right here, you are seeing that they are very piney, very needly, very sharp at the ends. Definitely reminds you of a pencil plant or also a Vanda teres or a Miss Joaquim orchid, but not a Dendrobium, folks. So definitely a very interesting shape. Look at that, the way that it cascades just really brings about such an attractive feature on this orchid. You can imagine this in a hanging basket, and definitely this is an orchid that can be confused perhaps for another plant because it doesn't quite look like an orchid, and that makes this very interesting. And this right here, folks, is actually a Dendrobium gentium. And this orchid right here is quite a fast-growing orchid and will bloom these miniature, very fragrant Dendrobium blossoms. And although they are miniature, they are also very, very gorgeous. And I'll post a picture right here. You see it, guys? You see it? Yeah, they're very dainty and beautiful too. So definitely this is a great find, great species orchid. Very nice and very attractive. Okay, folks, and the next on our list is this very beautiful vining orchid right here. Can you guess what it is? Can ya? Can ya? Can ya? Well, this very attractive plant right here is actually a vanilla planifolia. Voila! That's right, folks. I finally got myself a vining vanilla plant right here. I had a viewer that had asked me if I can do a video on vanilla, and at the time I did not have one. So I am very, very, very happy that I do have one now. Now, of course, this is commonly known to grow for the commercial purposes of the commonly known flavoring and seasoning of vanilla, which of course is used in a lot of our treats and also our desserts. So indeed, the way that they form this vanilla seasoning is from the seed pods of this vanilla orchid. And this particular orchid right here is commonly known to grow in Mexico, also Guatemala and Madagascar. And I do have to say that I am very pleased with this particular plant right here, because if we take a close look, there are actually two varieties in here. As you can see right here, this is your regular common known vanilla, and you will see the solid green leaves. But if we also take a look, you will also see a variegated form of leaf here as well. And this is actually the same plant, to be honest with you, or the same plant type. It's just that this actually is considered an albino form, where you are seeing that white in the leaf. And this is just the regular green. Yay us! So I do have two different varieties in here. How awesome is that? Like, totally, duh. And as you guys can see, this vanilla plant is quite the climber. And pretty soon I am going to have to repot this and get this into something that it definitely can wrap around and grow. And more than likely I'm going to have to use some form of trellis for this. So it might be a little adventure in just finding something it can grow up. But you know what? I love this orchid plant, so indeed we will make it a way. And folks, last on our list is this Rhyncholalia digbyana. And if you guys know anything about this orchid, this is quite a unique, very spectacular blooming cattleya right here. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to post a picture somewhere right here as well, because folks, if you see this blossom, it is definitely unforgettable. I remember seeing one of these like so long ago, and I didn't know what it was, but it definitely stuck out in my mind because, again, it is unforgettable. Once you see it, it's going to be like engraved in your brain. Oh, but let me tell you, folks, this blooms a big blossom that is such a rich lime green in color. And the lip of this orchid right here has so much frill. It's unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Speaking of which, it kind of looks like a weed. But anyways, not really. I'm just joking. Golly, bomb. Okay, that wasn't a word. I don't know what that was. Excuse me. I don't know where that came from. I just make stuff up as I go. But anyways, this right here, folks, is amazing. It is one of my most favorite orchids in the whole wide galaxy, and I can't believe I have one, folks. Again, this is a unique blooming orchid, and I have to tell you, one of the most unique qualities of this orchid, I thought it was very strange, but this orchid is very, did I mention, very fragrant, but it is only fragrant at night. And this orchid is very sensitive to light in the aspect of giving off its fragrance, that if it was nighttime and it was giving off its fragrance, if you turned on the light, you would shock it to where it would refuse to give its fragrance. Isn't that weird? Until you turn off the lights again. So yeah, that's kind of awkward, but this is what it does. So indeed, a very unique orchid. And again, I am just very, very pleased to get this girl, and I cannot wait until she blooms. And indeed, folks, this is my most recent orchid haul, again at Tom Ritter's Orchids. And didn't I give you what I promised? Some very strange, very unusual, very unique species orchids, and definitely I am pleased with my finds. And folks, at Tom Ritter's Orchids, you will not believe some of the amazing orchids that they have, and that is definitely why I continue to shop with the Ritter's. Not only awesome folks, but awesome orchids, as you can see right here. And folks, if you are interested in ordering or finding out more about Tom Ritter's Orchids, definitely check them out. I will give you their information right here. Definitely get in contact with them, and they will have a listing of all of the precious, unique, very gorgeous, very amazing orchids that they have. And indeed, folks, I thank you guys for tuning in to yet another wild and crazy orchid adventure with me, Maria Young. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, please be sure to subscribe. And if you like this video, of course, give it a thumbs like way up. And if you guys want to follow me on my orchid adventures on Facebook, please be sure to do that as well at My Orchid Adventures. And folks, I definitely post some pretty interesting information, even some pretty personal information on me as well, just so you guys can get to know me, not as just an orchid grower, but indeed a real person. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Oh, and one more thing. If you guys want to contact me via snail mail, like this, snail mail, moving right along. Okay, anyways, if you want to contact me via snail mail, you can contact me right here at the address right here. And again, folks, I thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet this wild, crazy orchid adventure. And as you guys already know, you guys know it, you know it, right? I love you all. Bye-bye.